Hey guys, Vermont Gran Fondo coming up June 28th. This is Coach Greg Wagoner coming to you with week 6 briefing of our training plan to get you ready and prepared for Vermont Gran Fondo. No matter which route you're doing, any of the shorter ones or the 100-mile route with 10,000 feet or the 150-mile route with 15,000 feet, our goal for this training plan is to ensure or raise the chances for success. So, Todd, the promoter of the event, asked me to set up a little plan to help make sure that people coming into this event knew what they were getting into and were prepared. So, let's get into it. Last week we talked about descending and cornering, and so just a few notes here. When descending, you want to be in your drops. You want to have one finger on the brake levers. You want to be off the saddle with your hips slightly back. Your knees are bent. And I like my feet at 3 and 9 o'clock. In other words, horizontal. And then when you're cornering, you want to put that outside foot down and put weight on it. So you tilt the bike more than yourself. Push down on the inside handle, and you will keep the bike glued to the ground in that fashion. So if you think about it, your outside foot weighting, putting weight on the pedal, keeps the bike planted on the ground. If your weight is on the inside and you're leaning, it's going to make the bike slide out, especially on any gravel turns. A note on descending Lincoln Gap, and I know I've talked about Lincoln Gap so many times this whole thing, but it really is a different animal than the other ones. So going down the other side of Lincoln Gap, you'll be on pavement at first, and you really need to control the speed of your bike. So just be ready for that. Uh, Equal braking with front and back. The front brake does the bulk of the braking, but you need to have your weight back so you don't flip over. Be aware that after a certain bit, the road turns to gravel, and if you're going too fast, that's going to be a big surprise. If you're flying down this hill and all of a sudden it turns into gravel, and it's not hard packed gravel. You need to control your speed on the downhill after you've done Lincoln Gap. So just a note on that. Um, anyway, look back at that brief. I just talked a little bit about the descending and cornering and where you should be on the bike. Hopefully, you've been practicing on that. So, all right, let's get into the workouts for this week. This week being a recovery week, and hopefully y'all have earned it. This is one of my favorite weeks because now it's a chance to let all the hard work sink in. So bear with me here 1 second, and I will get the Training Peaks thing up. Just 1 second. Okay. Come on, where are you? Here is the plan. All right, week 6, we are in recovery week. Look at, you've done a lot of good work. Just to review last week, if you did it well, 13 hours or so. However that relates to you personally, this should have been a big week for you, and it should have built on a similar big week. So now we are ready for a recovery week. And what does that look like? I would take an extra day off. You've just ridden on Sunday. Usually we take Monday off. I would also take Tuesday off, do this opener workout on Wednesday. This really gives you a chance. It's not a super difficult ride, but it does get the legs moving again. I would take another day off. So the bulk of this period right here, you can stay active on the other days, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Don't sit still, but do something very light to stimulate recovery, not to elicit any fatigue. Okay, does that make sense? So Wednesday, I would do a workout like this with 3 activation type intervals, 30 seconds, where you go close to all out. But there, again, that at this point, if your fitness is built, that should not cause any fatigue. That should just start to wake you up. and then finish out the rest of your ride in endurance. I have it as an hour. If you've been doing longer, maybe an hour and a half, even 2 hours might be good. I would not remember the goal is not to cause fatigue. Uh, Thursday off again, and then remember at the beginning of the program we did an FTP test or a test, and um, I suggested doing it on a hill outside where you use landmarks. We're going to do that again on Saturday. So repeat what you did in week 2 of this program. This is your chance to see how is your training going, whether you're using a power meter or landmarks or speed or some whatever measure you used. And if you didn't do it in week 2, well, this is a good chance to practice your climbing. There's so many different ways to test yourself, but here it is. And then the whole ride should be about 2.5 hours, but this 20 minutes part of the test is to compare to what you did in week 2, and hopefully that makes sense. Before that, Friday, this is another opener ride, so an hour and a half where you have some minute and a half all out efforts, good activation efforts where you're pushing a minute and a half. Sorry, did I say an hour and a half? A minute and a half is a pretty long all out interval. So pace that well. And again, these are always chances to learn what do you have for a minute and a half. Then this little tempo effort with an RPE of between 5 and 6 should not cause fatigue there. This whole workout should leave you feeling fresh for the next day where you're going to do this test. And then on Sunday, we have just another long endurance ride. I put it as a step down, but you really could match the week that you did before and get yourself ready for the next training week. So if you follow this plan the way it is, there is only 8 hours and 15 minutes. Now think about that. 8 hours and 15 minutes is still a lot. But if it's a step down from 13, that should be a good recovery week. If you're looking at power and TSS, well, 694 is a big week. That should have been your biggest. Quite a step down in intensity and strain on your body of 379. Next week, looking at an overreach. So this would be the biggest week of training of the whole program, bumping up to about 14. So it's a build on 2 weeks prior. So 13, 14 and a half, big TSS at 728, but let's worry about that when we get to it. Then it's a taper week, and then it's the week of the event. So the race day is coming, and I call it race day. It doesn't have to be a race. Event day is coming. Looking forward to it. So, all right, cool. Let's get into this week's topic, which is mental toughness or mental prep. This is one of my favorite topics because I think so many times a lot of times it gets overlooked, the mental aspect of training and performing. So what are we talking about? This is not like grit your teeth and get through how much can you endure, but rather being resilient. And when you have setbacks, being able to come back and find alternatives. Um, so the 4 C's, the 4 C's. What can you control? What is your commitment? Have you taken on a challenge, and have you built your confidence that you can rely on? We could get into a whole talk, and I've done this, and usually I talk about these with my athletes before going into an event like this. But think about it. What is in your control? You're not in control of what the other riders are doing. You're not in control of the weather. You are in control of your fitness, your execution, your nutrition, your gearing, your climbing, your descending. You're in control of a lot of things. How much sleep you got for the most part, what you've eaten the week before. A lot of things are in your control. What time you arrive to the event. Have you taken on the commitment? Yes, you've taken on the commitment. You signed up and everything. Part of that is giving credit to it, and that's one of the very first things I said is give credit to the commitment, or to the challenge that you've taken. Your commitment is comes with the consistency of training And hopefully y'all are following along in the program, and these are all starting to come together to build your confidence that you can do this and do it successfully. Uh, Again, we can go into these a lot more, and if you want to talk about it, reach out. Happy to have individual conversations, and hopefully that doesn't backfire on me and 100 people reach out. But yeah, reach out if you want to even just post about it in the Facebook group. But those are kind of the basis of mental toughness. Coming to event day ready, mentally ready, and then a great practice is to chunk things up. So let's say you're doing the 100-mile route of Vermont Gran Fondo. Chunking it up into 4 big climbs is great, and that's really how it is set up. You're only timed for those 4 climbs. It's not the whole ride; it's those 4 climbs, and you can chunk each ride up into quarters, and it makes it a lot more manageable, digestible. Another thing is visualize the effort, and I've been talking about that a long time. It's the very first thing we did is got on Strava or got on Ride with GPS and looked at the climbs, looked at the route, visualized the effort, and realized what are the demands of the event you're going to do. So keep on thinking about what you're going to be going through on event day. Knowing what you can do, knowing what your fitness is, how hard can you climb hills, how well can you descend, knowing what your strengths and limiters are, and hopefully you've been realizing what that is so that you don't go into the first hill and go go crazy out of the gates and blow up and have a bad rest of the day. You've got to ride in control. And then you can have some cues ready to tell yourself, now I just came up with these, hold the line, I'm built for this, or I'm ready for this, or just settle in and go. At no time should you be really like, I can't do this, because you've trained, and if you are, you're probably have some room to slow down a little bit and make it so that it is a doable intensity. Anyway, hopefully that helps and just gives you the stimulus to think about the mental preparation and what your mental state's going to be like on event day, and you come out successful. If your mind is ready, your legs can follow, right? So I'll post up on the blog and y'all can look through it, and hopefully this is helpful. So I can't wait to see you all on June 28th, and see you soon.